Welcome back. This is Garma, and you are listening to the Garma Tar Show. In this podcast, I talk to various sports personalities, coaches, and experts who are trailblazers in their fields to get answers about the psychology in sports, the importance of mental health, and how it affects performance on the field and generally in life. Well, in today's episode, I have with me Disha Malhotra Zulka, a certified licensed coach in UEFAC, that is Union of European Football Association, and AFCA, that is Asian Football Confederation. She is the founder, CEO, and technical director of Foot and Ball Academy. Disha is also the head coach at Sudeva Delhi Football Club and Delhi Under 17 team. She has gathered quite some prestigious accolades, one of them being Best Female Coach 2018-19, awarded by Football Delhi, Delhi Soccer Association. She was the assistant coach of the Indian Under 17 national team in 2019, which went to win the South Asian Football Federation Championship held in Bhutan. She herself had represented the Indian women's national team and is the former captain of Delhi State football team. Disha, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Garma, for having me in this show. It's an absolute pleasure.
So, Disha, since you're a Bachelor of Sports Management and Psychology from University of Michigan, so looking inside the mind of a winner, what factors do you think are linked to success in sport?
Right, so I think, Garma, that one of the most important factors is having a positive mental attitude. I think that is something which really makes all the difference in the world. Um, Personally, I'm a very big advocate for it, and I have experienced it in my own life as well as I have experienced players, doing this and not doing it, and that really reflects their performance. So for example, I'll give you like I always tell my players who are sitting on the bench that if that is a time where it requires a lot of patience, it requires a lot of mental strength, and if at that time you're not giving yourself positive self talk, and let's say like after 3 months of sitting on the bench you finally get a chance to play because maybe the player who was in your position, she got injured. But now if since 3 months you've been all negative that I'm not in the team, I'm not in the playing 11, blah 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 blah, and then when you really get the chance to go onto the field and play, you won't be able to perform. It's as simple as that because you've been so negative. So it's all about patience and waiting it out and having that positive attitude all the time. Second, I feel that like a never give up attitude is kind of linked into it, but like no matter how many times you fall or you fail, you have to get up. Like it's a very common saying, but I feel it applies to each and every field. So every time so today morning we had selections, and I told my players that the ones who didn't get selected, it's not time to be sad, rather it's time to work harder, because then you have to make sure that the next time whenever you are in such a position, you don't put yourself in that spot where you're a second option. So now is the time to really work hard to prove yourself. So yeah, I mean, those two three things I feel are really important to get success, and I mean, very, very necessary. And I think also how a player deals with failure. I think that again is a big, big on my list. Like how do you react? Like small things, maybe, you had a bad game. How do you react? Or you had a couple of bad moments in the game. Maybe the first few touches on the field, or just in general, like you lost a championship, or you didn't get selected, and you thought like there are girls, like I have had players who thought that who had never been on the bench or who had never not been selected. So for them it's like a surprise that, oh, I'm not selected or I'm not playing. But these are the moments which define you, because this is when it shows your mental strength, it shows your character, your personality, and can you still move on or not. So I think these small things really make all the difference um, in the world in terms of moving towards success.
Totally, Disha. I totally agree with you. Having the right, mindset is so important to have a constant positive outlook, and to be able to deal with the fear of failure is so important. And another thing that you said was like self-talk. I'm sure it is another strategy that definitely that athletes use, and I think it's an extremely important strategy because it enables athletes to give positive instructions to their mind, and they can use these mantras to try to boost their confidence, and they can try to manage the competition and the situation, for example, where the pressure is high, and they are anxious. So self talk can be very motivating, and it can help in focusing on important things that are relevant to the performance. So absolutely. So confidence is an important aspect, Disha. So what exercises that you make the athletes do to gain confidence?
Right. So confidence is definitely so important. Like big players, and if on the day of the game you're not confident, it can really get your performance down. So there are a couple of things which I suggest. One is again this positive self-talk. I think this is something like a number one on pretty much
Absolutely.
all the things. But this is very important. I think also you gain a lot of confidence when you get appreciation from your teammates, your coaches, maybe your parents, your siblings, your friends, or a random person who saw you play, right?
Sure.
So I think we do a lot of activities like within the team. Like for example, we'll put chits with players' names in it, and we'll tell that every player picks a chit, and so for the week you have to motivate that player. So and you don't have to tell that player that you're motivating that player. So and by the end of the week they're going to guess that who was the teammate on the on the team who was motivating her. So it's kind of like both ways. So you're getting a lot of motivation around, and you're trying to choose like who your partner is. Also, I think girls are learning how to motivate each other, so it's a lot of positive positive talk going on around the field. And then for that week as well, like you're hearing such nice things about you. There are times like when you're down, and that there's at least one person on the field who's gonna constantly help you out. So besides obviously the others as well. So I think just hearing those words of support from people around you, a positive environment, and definitely like I mentioned, talking to yourself about all the good things about you rather than just focusing on those mistakes all the time. Also I feel like to add to it, like when you go out there, okay, did your positive talk, now you go on the field and then you train, right? And then again, like maybe even the small things which you did well, if again you rethink that and again thank you, like like be happy about it, that will just lead to more happiness, right? Instead again like just focusing on the five things which you did bad at practice, that's again going to bring you down. So slowly and steadily keep challenging yourself, take one day at a time. Okay, maybe tomorrow I did two things good, next day three, next day four. So even a small tiny improvement every day will lead to a big improvement over the weeks or the months. So yeah.
Definitely, Disha. Absolutely. And also, I think, what do you think about the routines? Some athletes, they follow some routines and all, to get themselves ready before any competition or an event. So, do you also suggest your athletes to do the same? Any routines that you ask them to follow or something?
So I think like a routine is something which is very personal to to a player. Of course, the teams have their own routines, like the way they do the warm up, all those kind of things. So yeah, so that's the team routine, but individually I feel every player, every athlete has their own routine. I've had players, like I know players who would probably put on their left socks first before their right socks, so it's just superstitions, but maybe that works out for them. Or a specific kind of jersey, or whatever, like XYZ things. So that's very personal, but as a team I feel like the the kind of warm up you want to do is very important. A lot of people, like, I remember when I used to play in US, we had a warm up playlist. So we always used to play that playlist, and thankfully we had speakers, so it was used to be a lot of fun as well, right? Like, so every time it was a home game, we could play our music out, and the entire team is warming up, and it would really boost confidence and things like that. So definitely, I think having a routine is important. It also helps to reduce anxiety as well, which is a really big issue these days with players and athletes. So it's great to establish one.
Super, super. Yeah, I mean, definitely athletes, they use these routines to get themselves in the right frame of mind. And in fact, I was reading about this two-time world champion and, double Olympic medalist, Blanca Vlassi. She is very famous for going through the same performance routine, prior to a competition. And she would literally close her eyes and visualize a successful jump. And she would then clap her hands rhythmically, and get the audience on board, and that would boost her motivation and her confidence. And then she would practice some moves just before executing her final high jump. So yeah, routines actually are important, and I think it's very personal, as you said. So, anxiety management is an important aspect of sports performance, as you mentioned just now. So, at the Olympic and World Championships at the highest level, it's very likely that one comes under pressure, and one needs to be able to cope with that pressure. So, sometimes one can get very anxious, and that can actually, hinder the performance. So, what, according to you, are the steps that an athlete can take to overcome such anxiety and pressure? You mentioned self talk is one. Following a routine is one, and anything else that you suggest?
Yeah, so just like what you just mentioned right now, like visualization is so powerful, and we have done that as a group activity as well, like with our teams, where the team meeting before the match, we would have them all sit in the same room and practice this technique of visualization, and we have seen really fast results. Like there are times when like I mean, of course, being a football player, coach, everything, so I would talk about football, but I have seen that a team, when they get stuck, their teams, like who are trying, who are taking like 30 shots in a match and still not being able to convert a goal, right? So which is serious, like, problems, right? And this doesn't seem like a technical or a tactical problem, but more of a mental block, right? A mental issue. And such things, the solution of visualization is so powerful, and it really helps to switch your focus on what you want, rather than thinking or debating or having self second doubt about what you don't want. So maybe this happens, that happens, I do this in the game, or I do a bad pass, XYZ. So all the time you are having mixed thoughts, which really makes you more anxious, right? But rather just focusing all your energy on what you want, that really makes you focus, determined, and it really helps to manifest the things which you want. And it really removes your anxiety, because now you're thinking straight. You don't have 100 things going on in your head. You're just focusing, you're just thinking very clearly that, yeah, this is how, and it should be very detailed, right? So it's not just
Yeah.
you're thinking that, oh, I scored a goal. No, you're thinking exactly from where did you get the pass, how did you dribble, maybe you passed, you overlapped, you did a combination play. Oh, you lost the ball. Now again you're tracking back, you again got the ball, you went here, you made a cross or you took a shot. And then, I mean, for me, like when I judge my players, so at the end of it, when I say that, oh, that was a goal, right? And if I see that, I need to see that the girls have a smile on their face, because it is so hard that you're doing good visualization and your team scored a goal and nobody's smiling, right? So like
Yeah.
as a coach, that's my cue, that I know that who is really doing it and who is not.
Wow.
But again, a very powerful tool.
Totally, I think it's a fantastic thing, this visualization, this mental rehearsal, definitely so many athletes use it as a strategy. And during visualization, one can also visualize any contingency that may arise. For example, any barriers or problems or difficulties that arise, during the course of the competition. And the detailed visualization definitely helps so much. Fabulous. So, please tell us, have you also counseled athletes when they were feeling low, or when they get into depression? And how do you overcome? How do you help them to overcome such mental health situations?
Right. So, definitely, I mean, I think this is a day to day. Like, it's not a few. Like, I think if you're a part of the team, this is just as often as training. Like, day in, day out, you have to deal with players and, work with their mental state of mind. And of course, there are times, where you have severe cases where, it's a very big problem, like and but for me, I would say there's no one generic solution to it. It's very subjective on the person and what that person is going through. So there are so many issues, I mean, so many different kind of issues. Somebody might be having a very general problem, like they're not performing well, as simple as that. But there are times when they're facing bigger problems, may that be some family issues or financial issues, or things like this, or they have pressure from their parents. There are times, like especially nowadays, I feel parental pressure and sibling pressure is so much that if the players don't start a game, there are parents calling them and being like, why did I send you there? Like, you should come back, or like it's a waste of time. And and because obviously the girls are, or the players are so attached to, it's a very emotional bonding with the family, and hearing all those things constantly. And there are times when parents are abusing as well, shouting at their child, for not
Putting so
and
much of pressure sometimes.
so much pressure. And
Yeah.
it's actually not even in completely her hands, right? Like
Yeah.
yes, she, like during the training period, yes, she can work hard, but at the end of the day, there are so many factors involved in it. Like there
Totally.
could be n number of reasons why the coach or the committee, or whoever did not decide to put that person in. But the parents constantly nagging about this. And I mean, okay, this is another one issue, but there are so many different issues, and it has to be a very, I think, subjective way to deal with every situation. And I feel personally as a coach that it's very important that for a coach to build a one-on-one relationship with every player on the team, and that really helps. So for me, personally, I conduct in the sense that I keep having a lot of one-on-one meetings with players. And I think that really helps, because all players are not comfortable talking, opening
Yeah,
up,
yeah,
and
opening up in front of everyone, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yes, yes, and also just building that relationship with every player really creates that safe environment where they feel that they feel safe to come out and talk to you about it. So I feel that nowadays more and more teams are having professional psychologists as well as a part of the program, and I think it's very important, and especially at as you go more higher up, because this is a serious, it's a serious issue and it should be dealt with seriously. Also, like coaches, I feel nowadays are partly, we have subjects during our coaching licenses as well on psychology, and that really helps us to, become more mature about how to deal with such players.
No, no, absolutely. It's such an important factor. And so, as you rightly said, sometimes the pressure, there's so much of peer pressure. And even, sometimes parents can be very demanding of their, about the performance of their kids and expecting too much out of them. So, any message that you would like to, give to the parents of the athletes out there, to tell them to be little easy on them, or anything specific that you would like to say the
Yes, I mean,
parents?
I think one biggest thing is constructive criticism. I think this is something which they really need to learn, because
Right.
I know that, I mean, I understand that they want their child to improve and like to perform and all those things, but and of course, like as a parent you would, and especially if you have a football background, or if you have passion in football, they would analyze their performance, so which is great, and it could be a big asset if you do it in a positive way. So constructive criticism is key, and also just being there, empathizing more, understanding the whole situation, and not passing judgments, like being there for the child rather than you know making it more challenging for her or him. So I mean, I think,
Totally,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, absolutely. It's so important that we don't judge our children, and, in fact, just encourage them to perform better and boost their confidence. That's how. So, tell me, how do you ensure that the teammates, have a healthy camaraderie and team spirit? Because it's a team sport. So, I mean, what message you have to convey for that?
Right. Garma, for that, honestly, we do a lot of team bonding exercises, and some of them are on the field, and which are also a lot of fun. Like there are a lot of fun games kind of thing, which are based on team bonding activities, and then we have these small messages coming out of it. So that really helps. I mean, recently I did this one, game where there were like 20 girls, like they sit with one arm over each other and they all have to do push-ups together. So it
Wow.
was like a, yeah, it's like a really fun thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Sounds
Not
so.
push-ups, right? Sit-ups, my bad. So they have to do sit-ups together. So they all
Okay.
have to, like, all 20 of them have to,
Sit
come up
together.
together and go down and all
Yeah.
that. So, I mean, like things like this, it really helps. And off the field as well, there are a lot of team building, activities which you can do. And for real, they help. Like, I have done it and I've seen the change in the team. And if the team is not united off the field, no matter how good they are, they would not perform on the field. So it's very, very important to have that team cohesiveness. To bring out the best result from your team, like I said, like accountability partners, motivational partners, you know um, making them more
Feel more
like,
responsible towards their peer.
right,
Yeah.
right, being more responsible towards each other, towards yourself, being accountable. It's very, very important. Yeah, and I think also having a team goal, right? Having individual goals, having team goals, that really helps you focus and keeps a check on you and where are you headed. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, totally. So could you give me an example of, when you overcame a very difficult challenge in preparing an athlete for a competition?
Yeah, so there have been many definitely, but one which brings to my mind right now is there was a player like I mean it was about dealing with her leadership abilities, like because she was the captain on the pitch, and to bringing that out of her, that was, I think, a pretty big challenge, because captain is so important on the field, and if she is not able to do her job, the team really, it feels like a setback, right? What a coach, like the way I will motivate the team and the way a player will motivate their teammates, there's a difference, and
Absolutely.
both are really important. So bringing that out, bringing that leadership skills out, and developing that player to become what she has the potential to be, that is that was a challenge. And for me, like, I think again those one-on-one meetings for me are really really important, also giving examples, also trying for her to think that,
Yeah.
okay, who's the leader, right? Like,
Yeah.
what do you think, like, so making her think rather than me giving her all the examples out there, but
Right.
making her think that she has been in so many teams, she's been under captains, what went right, what went wrong, what do you think your responsibilities are, how do you think you can gain that respect, and how can are you giving respect to your teammates, right? So it's a respect is a two-way street.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think a lot of counseling like this, also giving her moments where she did well, so appreciating. Also moments where, again, constructive criticism, where this was a better option maybe. So showing her, guiding her to that solution, rather than just, telling her do this, do that, blah, 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 right? So being that teacher, like, I think just showing her the path, I think that really helps. And I felt like, within a very short period of time, I could see the change. I could see that she was taking on more responsibility, she was becoming more accountable, and by the end of it, I could see a big change. So for me, I think that
That must have been a
yeah, that's right.
really
Yeah.
great achievement for you. Yeah, yeah, I can understand, tell me, Disha, physical fitness must be a routine for every athlete that you coach. And but do you think there are any other mental training exercises also that you have made a part of their daily routine?
uh yeah, but I would go back to the same things, yeah. So
Any specific
honestly,
exercises like drills or techniques? I meant to say that.
uh,
If you can think of
so
something, oh yeah, just now, yeah.
yeah, I think all those things which we just discussed, like, you
Okay.
have to do those on a day-to-day basis. I think if you just do it one time, it would not show as much improvement. It's like a habit, right? It should become
A
as
lifestyle, maybe.
convenient.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to become a lifestyle. It should be as convenient, like, as you can eat food even when there's no light, right? In the room, you can
Oh,
still keep eating. So
right.
this should become like, it should get grilled inside you, that you're always having that positive attitude. You're always giving constructive criticism. You're always trying to visualize positive visualization. So all of those things which we just discussed, it has to be a habit, it has to be a routine, and
Right.
I think it will be very personal to every player. So
No.
maybe for someone visualization doesn't work much, maybe for someone it does wonders, right? Besides that, I myself, I do a lot of meditation, and I think that I like to transfer that to my peers as well. So whoever is interested, so I think meditation, yoga we really add. I mean, that is something, we add that, like, once or twice a week kind of thing. But things like this as well, I feel, makes a lot of difference. It brings that calmness in your mind, and your body and your soul, right? And
Yeah.
again, for me, it's like practice what you preach kind of thing. So because I'm a very strong, believer of that, it's really easy for me to transfer that to my my players as well. So I think yeah, I think again,
Yeah.
if you make it a routine though, like once in a month, meditation won't do much.
Of
So
course. It has to
yeah, I
become a
like it.
lifestyle. It has to just get ingrained in the personality, and that winning attitude, that you have to it has to happen day by day, every day, to reach the goal, actually, ultimate goal. So, Dishab, how do you derive your regular dose of motivation, and how do you keep your students motivated?
Yes. So, like I said, for me, it's all like I'm a spiritual person. I'm not a religious person, but for me, meditation is very important, and that really helps me going like day in, day out. And I'm not much of a yoga person, like to be really honest. Like, I think being a player, like I've tried yoga, but I don't know, it just didn't work out for me. But meditation, pranayam, all those kind of things has really worked out for me. So that and all the things which I just told my players to do it. I think, like I said, practice what you preach. So I'm a firm believer of thinking what you want, focus your energy on what you want. I'm sure you've heard about that book, The Secret. I'm
Yes.
a big believer of that. Yeah. So for me,
Oh,
like all these
yeah,
kind of things, like motivational videos, motivational movies. Also, I feel
absolutely.
like I want to take a lot, like, when I go through my day and I see, like, I mean, sometimes I might just get my motivation from my mother, sometimes my husband, sometimes my baby. So it's about, like, taking things like all those, like, sucking that positivity in. Sometimes a random person on the street might inspire you. So, it's about the kind of person you are and what do you want to focus your energy on.
Totally, totally. We can get our, doses of motivation from, books, listening to, podcasts, videos. I listen to a lot of TED Talks also. And in fact, every day in the morning, I have to watch some video, I have to hear some podcast regularly. In fact, I have also created a playlist of songs. Sometimes I just play them if I'm feeling a little
Yeah.
low or down, and this thing I just play those songs. So so motivation definitely, regularly to keep yourself motivated is also important. Definitely it also comes from within. I mean, you have to,
Right.
yeah, but sometimes you want to also read good stuff, autobiographies, document. You can watch some good documentaries of athletes, and imbibe values from them, and I think that really helps. Cool, that's fantastic. So, uh, please tell, when you're navigating through an injury, it can be difficult in sports, especially if the sport is as intense as football. So, what are the mental steps that athletes can take to navigate through such crisis?
Right. Garma, I think for this, the biggest is patience for me. It requires a lot of patience and is very important for an athlete to keep that patience, because if you don't and you jump back quickly, like before your injury is completely healed, also before your strengthening is complete and your muscles are back to go back to competition level sports. Till then you should really wait it out, like you should really take it slow, progressive, gradual. And first is of course the rehab, and then it's strengthening as well, of your muscles. And there are times when, for example, if you got an ankle injury, but your maybe your muscles in other parts of your body have also weakened.
Yeah,
So you have to strengthen it as a group and not just in isolation. So getting proper treatment is key, and waiting it out, because I remember when I mean, I've got a lot of injuries and it's really hard to sit out and not play. But it's a part and parcel of the life of a player, and you
athlete,
have to go
definitely.
through it. Yeah, and when you're injured, then figuring out ways on how you can still do whatever you can and keep your fitness.
And also keep motivated, during that time when you're lying on the bed, you're not able to move around, and play,
Right.
especially you're not able to follow your for
Yes.
those days. Yeah.
Yes, and still, eating healthy is very important. Eating, healthy,
Yeah.
because when you come back, you should be ready. Otherwise, the waiting time will keep increasing, right? So, staying focused and still looking at, like the never give up attitude really
Yeah.
comes in
Yeah.
place here. So, sometimes it takes a few weeks and sometimes even a year, so keeping at it and keeping yourself motivated and all those self-talk, all that positivity aspect, I think that is a big hit in all, in all factors, and keeping at it. Yeah.
Totally. I think what you're saying makes so much of sense. It's so important to have patience, I mean, especially during this crisis, and eat healthy, and to stay focused and just wait out till the injury completely heals. Totally makes sense. So, what are your thoughts on children, especially, young adults nowadays, getting involved in a sport and maintaining that? So, what's your message to the upcoming young athletes?
So, I think nowadays what I'm seeing is that players are getting injured very quickly. So one big shout out for me is honestly to work on injury prevention. It's very important that you're not just going training and coming back, but you're also doing a lot of other things to keep your fitness high, to strengthen your muscles so that you don't become that prone to getting injured. Okay, so this is the area which I feel is very neglected. So working on your balance, working on your stability, working on strengthening your muscles, not just weight training, like you're strengthening your muscles. That doesn't have to be through weight training only, right?
Yeah.
So I think that is one big key for me. Second is what we just discussed about in this past half an hour is working on yourself mentally and being ready to deal with pressure, game pressure, match pressure, pressure from your family, pressure from, I don't know, if you're playing really highly competitive, from fans, media, all of those things. So getting yourself ready for that. So those two things, and besides that, of course, like the technical, tactical, the more you eat, breathe, drink football or any sport, if you really want to make it your career, the more successful you'll be. So making that that's your identity, right? So you're living
Definitely.
that each and every day. So having a lifestyle around what you want to be is very important, and that will really help in getting you long-term success, not just what you do 2 3 months a year. So make that your identity.
Totally. I mean, so I mean, in terms of the mind of a winner from a sports psychology perspective, an athlete has to be motivated, confident in their abilities, and definitely should be able to manage pressure extremely well and use the techniques like visualization and self-talk to boost themselves. So yes, Disha, so such a fantastic episode and session. Thank you so much. And with this, we come to the end of this discussion. Thank you all for listening to today's episode with your host, Garima Aftar. If you like this episode, then subscribe to my podcast for more new episodes and a deeper dive into the world of motivation and sports psychology. See you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.